All right, well, there are a lot of elements in this movie that were from the first movie. So short answer is watch Coming to America, the first one. It's enjoyable, and it's a better version of this movie. But if you want to stick around for a review and watch me ramble for a few minutes, well, then here we go. Coming to America. So Coming to America is a sequel to Coming to America. I'm not going to do that the whole time. I guess calling it Coming to America 2 would probably be easiest. So in Coming to America 2, it's been decades since the events of Coming to America. Eddie Murphy's character, Akeem, he learns he has a bastard in America. So he goes and gets him and brings him back because he's going to be the heir to the throne. Now, talking about what I liked in this movie, hands down, my favorite part of this movie was Wesley Snipes. He's this military leader, this dictator of this neighboring land, which is great that you start seeing other places. You're like, I always thought, like, what's the land around this? But like, who are the neighboring countries? So Wesley Snipes, I thought, crushed it. But that's where you start falling into the fact is like, oh yeah, I've seen this plot before. Because this new prince is going to be arranged to marry the daughter of this leader, this dictator, and he doesn't want to, and he falls in love with someone else. Seems pretty familiar. And I don't want to do that thing where you compare it to the original movie and it falls short, but it's hard. It's hard to not do that when this movie makes a conscious effort to take some of the same beats. Plot-wise anyway, and the most important thing is this is a comedy. The most important thing in a comedy is to be funny, make me laugh. The movie didn't really make me laugh. And yeah, granted, comedy's different now. You look at the original Coming to America, here I go. I'm comparing again. But if you look at it, a lot of the comedy was wrapped up in the absurdity of the wealth of this family, this royalty. When they're at the airport and they're dressed clearly like royalty, and Eddie Murphy's like, remember, we have to blend in, and Arsenio Hall's like, I won't say a thing. And they look, everyone's turning like, who's the royalty? It relied on a joke and a beat for the audience to process, take it in, and laugh. Nowadays, what I see a lot in comedy and in Coming to America too, it's joke and then quippy comeback joke or reference, and there you go. It's like the characters are trying to make the characters in the movie laugh, not the audience, but it's important to include the audience in that. And that's the problem, because the original Coming to America, I laugh in. It's funny to me. Coming to America 2? Didn't laugh. It's like comedies and movies in general, let's face it, they think you're dumb, you know? Like, Hollywood thinks people are stupid. But I just can't stand it when jokes are so on the nose explained. Like, there's one scenario, it's not really a joke. It's actually a pretty relevant phrase. Eddie Murphy's character, he's king now, so he starts feeling the weight of these decisions. You know, it's really tough for him. And the phrase, heavy is the head that wears the crown, is thrown out. As heavy is the head that wears the crown, heavy lies the crown. However you want to say it. It's a good phrase, you know, but we know what it means just from the phrase. It's like, oh, it's not talking about the weight of the crown. Maybe that limbic response is to see it that way, and you're like, oh no, it's talking about the responsibility. We know that because the phrase is layered enough and accessible enough for us to know that. This movie explains it, you know, it's like, oh, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm starting to realize that more and more. Yeah, it's not just the weight of the crown, it's the responsibility that comes with it. It's like, thanks for explaining it, because we're dumb. It's just one example, but when I saw that, I was like, okay, that's the last straw, and that's my example that I'm gonna throw into here. And like, you know, creepy preacher guy who was in the first Coming to America, his character is back because, you know, sequel. But they call him the sexist preacher, I think 3 different times in here. I mean, granted, he is the creepy sexist preacher. We knew that from the first movie. He was one of those guys, oh, I got the calling. It's like, no, you didn't. You're just trying to get some of that great Christian ass. That's your thing. That's what you're doing. We all knew he was a creepy televangelist guy. The audience can get there by themselves, but no, they have to call him the sexist preacher. Like, oh, the guy's sexist. Did you get that, audience? Because he is. This is my point of saying all of this, is that subtlety and nuance makes comedy, but subtlety and nuance isn't in comedy anymore. And I think the reason is because if you don't say that, like if you don't blatantly call the creepy sexist preacher guy a sexist preacher, then somehow some corner of Twitter is going to be like, oh, they didn't call him out on it in the movie, so obviously they're advocating for it. That's problematic. And then, all right, start the canceling. So that's why you have to just explain all your jokes in movies. Otherwise, people are going to get the wrong idea. And that's why comedy is, what's the word? Dying. Anyhow, Coming to America 2, it's a comedy, and I didn't really laugh in it. This movie's aware of it, though. It knows what it is, because they even make the joke in this movie. It's a very meta moment where they talk about sequels to 30-year-old movies that no one asked for that aren't good. But in the end, it doesn't matter, because I'm not going to remember this movie in T-1 day. Yep, already forgot. It just lacked the purity and heart of the original. It's your basic sequel to a 30-year-old movie. This is how it usually goes down. All right, so Coming to America. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.